Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in as always, and thanks ever so much for all your support, likes, comments, subscribes and shares. All very much appreciated. Right, a little bit of a double-edged video today. We're going to do a little look at these, unpackaging, opening, a little look, overview, etc. And also, once we get out to the car, we're going to do a little bit of a comparison, because when I made my video last week where I used ONR to clean the entire car, I then 50-50 the bonnet, and I did half just ONR and dried it, and the other half I applied Gyeon Wet Coat, one of my favourite products, as regular viewers will know. So what we'll do is when we get out to the car, before we start testing these, I'm just going to pressure wash the bonnet a little bit just to see if there's any residual hydrophobicity and water action from the Gyeon Wet Coat, and we'll see how the ONR has fared similarly. We'll see what sort of water action that is producing, and then we're going to snow foam. So I've got a nice strong mix of Built Hamber touchless in the MJJC foam cannon, and then we've got good old citrus wash and gloss in the bucket this time, not delivered by the cannon, because I want to dunk these two in and then have a little look at their performance, etc. And also we want to just check the slickness once I've done the snow foam. I want to have a little look at the slickness of the ONR treated bonnet versus the Gyeon Wet Coat treated bonnet. Anyway, let's start getting into these. So I've got my old favourites purely for comparison purposes. This was probably the first one I ever had, and the cuff has gone. It's a little bit dirty, but this is now my go-to wheel cleaner, and this is the one I use pretty much every week. The band's still good, still nice and clean, still nice and soft, just a little bit smaller. But it's interesting to have these because I've been reading some reviews of this and this type of mitt, and you know what a lot of people say is, for the price of either the Chemical Guys mitt or the Polar mitt, you could have 3 of these or 3 of these. These you can get for like 5, 6, 7 quid. These are probably Asda or Tesco, something like that. Whereas these are more like 15 quid. Anyway, let's get one out. We'll just read the instructions. Scratch-free car wash mitt, scrubs gently with hundreds of plush noodles, holds lots of slick soapy suds. And that's all you need to know. Machine wash microfiber goods with Chemical Guys microfiber wash and hot water. Machine dry microfiber goods on low heat. Do not use fabric softener or dryer sheets. Well, I use CarPro MFX. Ooh. And just so you know, CarPro MFX does a wonderful job. Anyway, this is super thick. Makes my old one look a bit scraggly. Anyway, first thing you notice, double-sided, which is good. That's nice. And obviously you get branded tape. Let's just get me pouring. Ah, well, it's kind of soft inside, almost feels like cotton wool or the inside of a fleece jumper. The band's nice and tight, so it's not going to come off in your hand, which is good. It's a nice size, and having some internal structure and that thickness of the fleece, you've got something to hold on to if that's your bag. But it feels very nice. It feels very nice. Looking forward to giving that one a test run. And as I've seen, you know, as I say, I watched quite a few reviews, and a lot of people were saying they don't like the tape. Well, don't buy a mitt. That's what I thought. And a lot of people say they like using it as a pad. And of course, you can tuck that in and use it as a pad. But of course, then you have the ability to lose it. Anyway, I was just shaking it because look, we're collecting lint And again, that's standard. You see reviews on Amazon where people say, oh, it gives up loads of lint. Well, you know, if that's a massive problem, wash it first, then use it for the first time. I don't see how that's a negative. That sort of happens. Anyway, feels nice and soft, nice and plush. Wonderful. Keep that on that lid so I don't get any varnish, peeling paint coming off. Sorry, I'll get this away from the camera. With this, you do get a wash bag, I believe, which is nice. Sorry about the rustling. I think this is where I discover that I need a Leatherman. So, Autoglym Polar mitt. You can see why I bought it. I mean, look at it. It just sells itself. When you see that on Amazon, you're like, ooh, shiny. Perfect accompaniment to our best-selling Polar range. Luxury super soft wash mitt features multi-length split microfiber strands to ensure every surface of your vehicle exterior is washed to a professional standard with ease. Plush 420 gram polyester microfiber cotton warp weave is highly absorbent and ensures a large volume of wash liquid is transferred to the vehicle for a safe, swirl-free wash. Sewn in centre seam significantly increases wash mitt control on all surfaces, and the elasticated cuff secures it firmly yet comfortably in place. Included is a dual purpose bag to make washing and storage as simple as possible and ensure your mitt is always in perfect condition. Care instructions: wash first before first use. Well, that's not going to happen. To ensure it's free from contaminants. After use, rinse under running water to remove any large contaminants, then hand wash or machine wash in the bag at up to 40 degrees C. Air dry in the bag and store till next use. Ensure mitt is thoroughly dry before storing. Do not use with strong detergents or wheel cleaners. Right, let's get this separated. So that wasn't too much drama. There's the bag. We'll have a look at that in a minute. And this is the mitt. Let's do a quick size comparison, shall we? Well, they are obviously together on the design team. Either that or it's like a generic best size. So immediately, the cuff is a little bit like the cuff on a nice quality hoodie, actually. There is a stitch that runs to about here, so just under halfway, so you can get your fingers to this side, to that side, and that gives you that additional bit of grip, which is kind of clever, really. It's really, really, really soft. It feels nice. Let's have a quick look at the inside. The inside is more of a less kind of fluff. It has got the fluff, but then it's been covered with like a hex weave, which theoretically, in my mind, will stop that ever piling or pilling, whatever you call it. So that's good. Also, obviously, you have the option, if you require, to tuck the cuff in and then use it as a pad. Both have that exact same option if required. They both feel nice. They both feel nice. So looking forward to getting them in the. Looking forward to getting those in the bucket. Let's get a nice close up of that. It's quite interesting, really, because when you think about it, it's the little fibres then interspersed with slightly larger, sort of woolly looking fibres, theoretically should get into the small gaps. So that's where we are. That's where we are. Anyway, let's do the customary rundown. So, as I say, built hamper, touchless in the MJJC. Gyeon for finishing, as usual, citrus wash and gloss. That's what these are going in. Obviously, there is going to be some Red 7 is in there. Meguiar's ceramic detailer for the wheel faces, because I'm just going through that, trying to use it up. Same as this, really. And I'll get a little bit of Auto Bright Direct Just Wheels in the wheel cleaning bucket as well, and we'll give them a good cleanse with the Shiny Car UK brushes. Going to use the Chemical Guys wheel face brush because this had the best density on the bristles, and then as usual finish with Car Pro Pearl and Car Pro Dark Side. And we've got fresh, dry, clean towels for drying. Anyway, let's get up to the car and get looking at those. Just dashing around getting everything prepared from a pressure washer and buckets point of view, and remembered I didn't show the storage bag. Anyway, it's rather nice. Do you know my first opinion? I mean, I had to double check the instructions to see if you're supposed to wash it in it or dry it in it. This is for drying, and it says hang to air dry. Where's the hook? Oh, pain in the bum. Means you've got to get pegs. Could have just had a little hook, and you could hook it up in a nice, dry, warm-ish outbuilding, and it'd be dry for next usage. Anyway, so it's zipped. It feels nice. So that's where a bit of the extra money goes. It's a YKK zip, so hopefully that will last. And you know, it feels nice. Instructions don't say wash in this. They say air dry in the storage bag. Anyway, let's get out to the car. Right, we'll have a quick whiz round the car just to show how ONR's got on. Now, I will say the weather has been 60% rain, I'd say, and it's done as good as normal. I mean, from a distance, she's still got a nice shine about her. I didn't Gyeon Wet Coat the rest of the car, I just did 50-50 on the bonnet. So it did leave, just ONR has left a pretty good shine about her. And believe it or not, I drove to work 2 days this week in absolutely torrential rain. And I was hoping that you'd still see the break, the difference. But really, you can't. It's a pity we've got that massive reflection there, but trust me when I say it's barely imperceptible, any difference. I suppose maybe after I'd driven to work one morning, you had still slightly bigger bubbles on the ONR side and tiny bubbles on the Gyeon Wet Coat side. Anyway, let's get straight into pressure washing that, just to see if there's any difference between the water action on either side. Make up your own mind. Look at it. Amazing. So that is 7 days. It was exactly 7 days ago that I washed the car. So we're still sheeting on the ONR side, and we're getting small bubbles on the Gyeon Wet Coat side. Interesting. Anyway, I was asked in the comments, this reminds me, I was asked in the comments to have a look at the slickness. So, let's say that was a pre-wash, a pre-rinse. I'm just going to pause that. Grab a mitt, any mitt, and then let's have a feel. You know, I'm not expecting to feel a discernible difference as I go across it. But we'll just give it a quick, fair, equal, straight lines pass. And then we'll go straight back to pressure washer. This side still feels nice and slick. Difficult one. Difficult one. Right, let's see if we're still getting the same water action. Be interesting to see actually if the chemical guys suds strips the coating. I doubt it will. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? The behaviour is now Gyeon side's coming off ever so slightly quicker, and the ONR side is still hanging. So that's interesting, really. Just goes to show what the shampoo, the effect it has on the coating, because the wet coat's not behaving like it was a minute ago. You can see where I've not been, and you're still getting the tiny little droplets, but where I have shampooed, it's almost all gone. Whereas on the ONR side, you've just got one huge sheet. So, Gyeon's still doing its stuff. Interesting. Right, let's get some snow foam on that, and actually we'll do that again. Well, I'll snow foam the whole car, and then we'll pay particular attention to this part just to see what effect the touchless has. Trying to find a half good angle. That's going to have to do. Really need to have a good clean up, spruce up in the filming area. That'll be a project for the summer. Anyway, look, it's a good time to say, look, new t-shirt, happy days, happy days. Right. Almost forgot. I always like to get this on before. The foam. See, I broke the first rule of car cleaning and didn't do the wheels first, but it's not very dirty, so we'll be all right. We'll get away with that today. Get that all gone. Lovely. Excuse me. And I will quickly get in and fix my faux pas on the wheels. Let these ones dwell. I reckon I can get that done in the time it takes the foam to start coming off, even though it's super hot. Right, I'm just going to get them wheels done. get all that off and then we'll have a look at the bonnet. Not a terrible place to start really, because this is ONR only, so that gives you a good impression of its coating and what happens once it's been auto foamed. Right, I'm going to go around, get all that off, and I'll get back on the camera when we do the bonnet. I'll be like a minute. Dashing around like a madman trying to keep everything wet. Right, let's do this test and I'm going to go around and get it all rinsed. What's interesting, Gyeon Wet Coat is still alive and ONR not so much. The water's just pooling on the surface pretty much, and you can still see the line. So that's interesting. 1 week of driving, still got a little bit of action left in the Gyeon. Anyway, I'm going to get that rinsed. See you in a moment. So just put the Karcher down 30 seconds ago. You can still see expansive sheet and sitting on the surface. Gyeon Wet Coat side starting to behave a little bit like it did when it was first applied. Anyway, won't dwell on this too much, but as usual, that is it, 80% clean. Not a great deal of work left to do. And I was thinking, because I'm not doing a full review, a full clean, what am I going to do? And then I remembered what I'm here for, the sponges. Right, give them a little zhuzh up and we're going to go along this way so they both get equal goes on the, excuse me, equal goes on the Gyeon and the ONR. Feels nice in the hand, as you'd expect, well engineered. The little split thing's nice, gives you that little bit of grip and additional confidence to say, you know, you're clinging onto it. It's not going to fly off all of a sudden, which is nice. It feels good. So let's just do a quick wheedle my hand out. Pad method, not something I ever do. Sorry about that, just need to go and sort the dogs out. Anyway, so the thing I like about this, you know, like I mentioned at the start, is these little fibres. It feels to me like they'll be good for getting in little details, you know? So you get in them little, but the same could be said of the noodles, I suppose. We'll see. But it feels nice. Feels nice. Feels good in the hand. Just re-wet that. It's so hot today, so I had time to dry off while I was going parking the dogs. Right, I know what you're thinking. There's no rinse bucket. Well, I'll go and get that ready in a minute. The amount of washes this area's had, there's zero chance of any contaminants on there. Ooh, nice. Oh, and no discernible difference really in terms of slickness as I go across where I'd 50-50'd. That feels nice. Just going to get that band, so feels nice. Both of them, you know, the band's nice and tight. Feels nice in the hand. So, all good. All good. Both feel nice actually. Right, I'm going to just do a pass. Because it feels nice. Everything's drying rapidly. And I'm going to go and get a rinse bucket. Yeah, feels nice. No drama getting in the small bits. Certainly doesn't feel like it's going to fall off my hand. Doing the job. Happy days. Just have a little squeeze of this one. There is a grit guard in the bottom. Like I say, 80% of the dirt's off the car anyway. So on one-handed, hands into the little split. If anything, this just glides a little bit more. Whether that tells you that it's doing a better job or not, I don't know. Good thing is, you can squeeze your mitts together for the finer details, which is nice. Like I say, it does feel nice. It does feel nice. I don't think we did pad on both. You know, pad method, but trust me, both have pad capabilities. One little pair of fingers into the little nooks and crannies. Happy days. So both very good. So like I said at the beginning of the video, really, a lot of the reviews I read said, you know, professional valeters wouldn't use this sort of thing. Because why bother having Chemical Guys branded taping around the cuff, Autoglym branding on the cuff, and pay 15 quid for that, maybe more, 15 quid for that, maybe more, when you could have 3 of the cheap ones. So if you're a professional valeting business, you're probably going through them. My last cheapos lasted 3 years, and I thought it was time to treat myself. So there we have it. That's what I'm using. Anyway, I really enjoy them. They both feel lovely, actually. They both feel lovely. I'm going to get the rest of the car washed, get the GoPro in the shade, and then I'll get it geoned, obviously, all over, and dried, and then we'll wrap it up. Just to clarify, I'm not a total heathen. I did go and get a separate rinse bucket. Anyway, I wrung them out, and what I thought would be quite interesting is the amount of water they hold. I mean, this loads. I'm not going to measure it. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not that guy. But it felt like a lot. This one, even more. This thing has sucked up just tons of water. Feels super plush, super heavy. I don't mind. Anyway, thought you might like to know that. I reckon the green one holds a little bit more water than the Autoglym one, if that is of key importance to you, but I generally like to wring them out a little bit first anyway. So, for total fairness, I did this side with the Autoglym one, and I did this side with the Chemical Guys one. And I know I said I was going to finish and wrap it up, but there's 2 things I wanted to say. So, with the Chemical Guys one, I know I'd done the bonnet already, the boot was done, so I really only had to do this side. With the Chemical Guys one, because it holds so much water, you could easily do that whole side. One dunk, then rinse, job done. However, with the Autoglym one, Autoglym, classic, it's a new word, Autoglym one, 2 dunks to do comparable size on the other side. However, the Autoglym one felt miles more stable in your hand because you can hold it like this and clench the little stitching in the middle, and it felt incredibly soft and smooth as it's going round, so maybe a little bit less sort of draggy, 2%, 5% if that, barely imperceivable, but still felt smoother. And even though both have got the bands, the Chemical Guys one, all the interior was moving around. So twice while doing that side I had to expand my hand to get the line in following the contour of the glove so it felt comfortable again. So you felt like you were kind of clawing at the glove rather than it feeling part of you. Anyway, very, very close, both wonderful, both really, really nice to use. In my opinion, the Autoglym one just clinches it. Right, let's get this done before it gets dry. To wrap up the overview of the longevity of the ONR versus the longevity of the Gyeon Wet Coat. Well, the Wet Coat survived pre-rinse, water only, and then it had quick going over just to check the slickness with a sponge, the new mitts, and then it got rinsed again and still survived. Then it had touchless and the coating survived. The ONR was starting to sheet, the Wet Coat was still behaving as it did. It had another rinse, all looking good, everything's groovy, as I say. Now, both sides dead. So that just goes to show the Chemical Guys suds has murdered that. So maybe that gives me some interesting food for thought. Maybe I should be trying Gyeon Bathe, just to be a bit more delicate on the coatings, and then maybe they wouldn't die. Anyway, so that's interesting actually. I've discovered something new. Right, ready? So there's no discernible difference on either side anymore. Quite interesting, I thought, if you like that sort of thing. I almost forgot. A good friend of the channel made a great suggestion recently and said a little bit of Gyeon Wet Coat in the shuts make them much easier to clean. Sorry, I need to fall over. Much easier to clean next time. So thanks for that. Very, very much appreciated. Sure Foz won't mind a little bit of additional shine. Let's just buff that off very quickly. Lovely. I'll get round to do the rest to that same standard, and then we'll wrap that up before that happens, hopefully. Dark side only today. Feel like I'm running out of time. Feel the temperature's changed and it's going to rain any minute. Anyway, so the only other additional thing I did is a quick bit of Gyeon in the shuts and CarPro Dark Side on the wheels, and as is always the case, just chasing the last few drips. I should have bust out the blower. The blower always makes for a good, happy ending. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that one. There was I like doing the comparison. That was interesting for me and hopefully interesting for you too. And looking at the mitts, that was interesting. And an important discovery about the Chemical Guys suds. That is good night wet coat. So maybe I should start thinking about something a little bit more gentler in the shampoo department. As much as I love Chemical Guys suds, always have, really good. Never done a dedicated review on it, but I just really like it. Anyway, there's the old bus, looking wonderful as usual. And no doubt in about 30 minutes there's going to be an opportunity for me to come and make a quick YouTube short about the beading. Because I think it's going to rain. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that one. Thank you for tuning in as always. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. A like would be very much appreciated, but not essential. Enjoy your weekend day, and I will see you again very soon. All the very best. Take care. Bye bye.